Welcome back to part 6 of We Just Received a Massive Gun Collection. And for those of you just tuning in, here's a quick recap of what we've done. So we've received all of these long guns, we received handguns, and we've opened up some of the accessories, and we need to finish opening up the rest of the accessories. Also, this collection comes to us from a customer whose dad passed away about 25 years ago. Customer says this is about 1/8 of his collection. This is the stuff he was tripping over. No, we did not buy this. The customer brought it to us for auction consignment. So we're going through this collection, and we're showing you what's in it before we send it to auction. Today we are going to finish up going through the accessories, so let's get into it. So in the last video we made it through all those project guns in the wood crates. We got through the stocks. We got through the accessories here in these tubs. And we found some cool things like this cartridge box from the 1884 Springfield trapdoor. And this little M19 telescope off of a Sherman tank periscope. Also used on Han Solo's blaster. So that was a pretty cool find. We need to get through the rest of the tubs and everything on that side of the table. I'm going to save this clear one for last, just because it looks like it's got some cool stuff in it just from the outside. Haven't been through it, so I'm going to save that one for last. And I have a feeling I shouldn't have wore a white shirt today. But let's get into it and see what's in there. Alright, I'm going to start with this tub because, honestly, I had already kind of been through it because I had to pull some of the flintlock pistols out of here. There's a lot of paperwork. There are some parts in here, it looks like, but it's basically manuals for air guns, and you're going to see that for the pellet guns, the BB guns, but there are some parts in here for those. But this is mainly going to be paperwork and manuals. There is a cleaning kit in here for pellet guns, so, or I guess you should say air gun kit, but this is basically all paperwork. So, yeah, if anybody needs a manual for their air gun, it's probably in here. Oh, and this box here, too, had just some air gun parts. So I think maybe when it comes time to lotting some of this stuff, we're going to probably put all the air gun parts together. Alright, and this tub looks like it's got a lot going on here, so let's hope we can make some sense of it. This looks like it's for either like an old single shot or possibly like a muzzle loader. There, you can see the threads are pretty deep on this receiver. But that's pretty cool. It's case hardened. You have the stock. There's a chisel there to even finish it out, and there's some parts here. Alright, this box here has a lot of just some miscellaneous parts, but there's some parts here to like finish out a stock. And there's some trigger guards and mag wells. Even the sought after 30-06 metal mag, probably for like a Remington 700. For some reason, these go for a stupid amount of money. All right, this next one says Stith 722 Rem. It looks like some optic rings. All right, and this box is chronograph, which I can only imagine is a really old chronograph. Also, you can see older design, but very accurate. All right, there's another cigar box. Okay, so this looks like it's got parts to a Bridesburg, if I'm pronouncing that right, like a Bridesburg receiver. It looks like it's got the US stamp on it. That's pretty cool. So this is probably parts for putting that together. Alright, and this looks like parts for another air rifle. Okay, and then the rest of the tub looks like a bunch of miscellaneous parts. And the good news is, it seems like if he had something that was meant to be together, he put it together. So like this whole bag of parts is another, you can see a side panel and hammer in here for like an old cap, would be for a muzzle loader. And the trigger's in there, and it seems like all the other receiver parts are in there. Same thing here with this box. So I don't want to mix this stuff up too much, but there is plenty of parts in here, even some old pistol grips. That looks like a 1911 grip. So yeah, just a tub of parts. Alright, so I knew eventually we would get to some air guns here. This box, even though it's empty, we have the Model 6G over in one of the briefcases. So we do have the original box to that. And it looks like this is probably going to be a load of air guns. I just want to say real quick, we do get a ton of BB and pellet guns in for our auctions, but really not this nice. Normally the ones we get have definitely seen their wear and tear, and people use them. But these seem pristine, almost like brand new old stock. So far, I mean, if air guns are your thing, these are in great condition. In this next box, looks more like air gun parts. There are some air tanks. So this one is loose, but there's air tanks in these tubes, and they have the specifications on them on the outside. So these aren't just empty pipes. There's actual air tanks in them. And here's another optic, universal standard. All right, let's start with one of the cooler things in this lot, and it's in a cool box. This metal U.S. stamp box. If anybody knows what this box would have been used for, let me know in the comments because it's pretty cool. So inside of it, and I had to have Dustin look this up because this is technically a firearm. This is a German, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, 8 system, which AYDT is how it's spelled. It's a single shot 8.15 by 46R millimeter. Would have used the black powder cartridge, and they manufactured these between 1893 and 1912. And you can actually see here's the lever for it to open the action. That's pretty ornate. And the receiver itself has some engraving on it and is heavy duty. And there's the rest of the parts for it. And this is another like receiver and parts to a BB gun. Okay, and so this is basically a tub of BBs and pellets, which honestly I wish we would have had during the pandemic because we couldn't even get our hands on these during the pandemic. Alright, basically the whole inside of this paper bag, same thing, filled with pellets and BBs. I think from all different kinds of time frames. Alright, now this tub looks like it's full of a lot of ammo, and many different types of ammo. But let's just leave out the BBs for now, huh? So it looks like there's a lot of old ammo in here. And then probably just some old ammo boxes as well, because this one's empty. Empty. And then there's some Glenwise 70 grain black powder cartridges, I guess if anybody's been looking for those. I know I kept getting asked in the comments if there was a 30-40 Craig rifle in the slot. There isn't, but there's some ammo. Some lead rounds in a jar. .24 FMJ. Some old black powder 38s. Okay, so a lot of the ammo that we have here goes to guns that we have, and some of the ammo goes to guns that we don't have. But there's also jars in here, what looks like old black powder rounds for some of these guns. So we probably have to go through it a little bit. But we're on to the last tub, and then I got a few other things to show you. But let's get through that one. Alright, this one's pretty heavy, so I was kind of excited to get into it. So, let's see what we got. Alright, that was kind of hard to pull out of that case. But this looks like a gigantic camera lens, or possibly a telescope lens, but I think it's camera. Alright, got an empty leather black pouch, probably used for muzzle loading or reenactments. Over here, this is pretty cool. This is if you're going to make your own lead bullets. And also, I don't know if you remember in the last video when we saw the big brush, we thought this guy might have a cannon. I don't know, what do you think a Cannon 3 ball would be used for? And even a Cannon 1 ball. So if you need to make your own cannonballs, we got the stuff for you. Alright, that looks like wadding. There's a whole tray again of like lead dyes and again, I'm not too familiar with this stuff because this isn't my area. So if you guys see something in here that you know the name of it, call it out in the comments. Alright, this tub says bullet dyes. Which again you would be using to pour your molten lead into these. I don't know how old these would be, but they are in great shape. Alright, this one says 45 brass bullets. Alright, anybody that's reloading 45s, this is a tub for you. Muzzle loading dies. Okay, so same thing. Looks like we've got dyes that you would pour molten lead into, and there's some powder horns. A bag of scope rings hiding in there. I'm gonna save this case for last. All right. It looks like a 30-30 casing. That's probably what all of these are, 30-30s. Okay, so I can't really make out what the tag is, so this is going to be a surprise for all of us. Okay, so it looks like more muzzle loading supplies, some powder horns. Now, my guess is they're going to be repops. They're not going to be original, but we'll check into that. Okay, so that's all the accessories from the tubs. I got just a few more things to show you, and then that's it. And then I'm going to ask you a question at the end here that hopefully you guys can help me out with. So we have this shopping cart full of stocks, and some of these are just raw, like maple, that one's oak. Some of these have been kind of finished out, and there's some more on the bottom there. I'm not sure how we're going to lot those out, but like this one here is kind of in finishing stages. So it's all carved out. And then we actually have these uniforms, and so I'm not sure what branch they're for. So here's this one says U.S. Technician on it. So if anybody knows what these uniforms would have gone to or for, because I don't think I've ever seen an all white one, unless it was kind of navy, but this doesn't look like navy to me. And then of course we have the barrels. And so the barrels are probably going to be one of the harder things for us to put together, because some of them are like each other, others aren't. Some are muzzle loading, some are rifle, some are shotgun. So we're not entirely sure how we're going to lot these together also. We also have this large cabinet that came in, so if this goes up on the auction block, just know that this is going to be a pickup only, just because of the size of it. Shipping is going to be a pain, so we're going to mark this as pickup only, but we'll probably empty out the drawers, and in the drawers are a ton of tools and reloading supplies, dies. Bullet mold boxes. So we'll probably take out the contents and make those individual lots. And then, like I say, the cabinet would have to be a pickup from the shop only. And then the last thing really is a pile of gun cases. Okay, and that is it. So here's my question to you. How should we lot this stuff together? Now we know the guns are going to be done individually, but when it comes to the accessories, how should we lot those together? I think we'll probably just leave like most of the totes like how I showed them to you. We're going to probably leave them together in the same, except we'll probably pull out some of the more rare or expensive items and put those individually. But let me know how you'd like to see it, if you're okay with seeing the whole tubs go, or if you want to see that stuff individually lotted out. So like that last tote with all the muzzle loading dies, probably going to individualize that and not make that one big lot. But you let me know in the comments, how would you like to see it? Also, make sure you go to our description or the pinned comment and sign up for our email newsletter so you can follow along with this, and make sure you follow along with these long form videos. I'll probably do one more after I get everything lotted together, so then you know how it will show up. So, but let me know in the comments how you'd like to see it. And with that, I will see you on the next one.